In a previous video, I talked about covered calls, and they're not really for income or even a hedge. They're more for reducing the cost basis of a long stock position. Which sort of the next point is, well, geez, okay, what if I do want to hedge a stock position? What's a trade? How can I morph that covered call into something that actually hedges the stock position, not just reduces its cost basis? And the answer to that is a collar. And maybe you've heard of that phrase before or term before for that strategy. What it is, it's long stock, short and out of the money call, long and out of the money put. And ideally, not in every case, but ideally, the credit from the short call pays for the long put. Okay, so what does that actually do for you? Well, the long put is an actual hedge. If the stock starts to drop, the value of the put should increase and ultimately offset some of the losses on the long stock. Okay, that's just the way it works. Now, it's possible that the stock drops a little bit and you lose money in the stock and the long put doesn't really increase in value. That's entirely possible too. So it's not necessarily the best hedge or, a hedge in every scenario. But if catastrophe happens, if the stock just crashes, that long put that you would have as part of a collar should reduce some of the losses on the long stock. So how could you structure this sort of thing? If we start with a covered call, which is buying the stock, and I'm just using GM as an example here, buying the stock, and as I said, you can start with options between 30 and 55, 60 days. Let's go to 38 days, and maybe I want a call, to sell a call, that's would account for, let's say, a 5% increase in the stock. Okay? If I get a 5% increase in the stock before I get called away, before it hits the strike of my short call, I'll be happy. So what's 5%? Stock's trading at approximately 80. 5% of that is about $4. So let's say the 84 calls. Maybe I'll sell these 84 calls for, I'd try to offer them out at, $2 or so. But the key here, and it just comes up with a net cost for the stock and the option. So the key here is if I sell that for $2, I'm reducing the cost basis. I go 2 divided by, let's say, 80 is equal to 0.25. Okay, times 100 is 2.5%. So I'm reducing the cost basis of my long stock by 2.5% with that short 84 call. Okay. Now, what put would I buy? Well, if I'm taking in $2 for this, I don't really necessarily want to pay more than $2 for that put. The collar, ideally, as I said, you do it for credit, where the credit from the call is greater than the debit of the long put. So maybe the 76s, if I buy that. And if this is about, let's say, about $1.80 and this is about $2, I might take in about a 20-cent credit for this. These aren't the most liquid options, but let's use these as an example. So I'm long the stock. I have protection down here with my 76 put. If the stock does drop from approximately 80 down 5% down to 76 and keeps going and drops, this put should increase in value. This long put should increase in value and offset the loss of my stock. And I would just keep the credit of this short call. Now, this is a standard sort of collar. Okay. What is an alternative? Well, you don't have to put this long put in the same expiration. You don't have to. There's no rule that says that. Let's delete this. Oh, I cleared the whole thing. Sorry, folks. Let's buy the stock again, sell the 84 puts in the August weekly expiration. Maybe I would buy the 74 puts with 10 days, okay, for 49 cents, or close to, let's say, about 35 cents. Buy that. Why would I do that? And I wouldn't necessarily buy these. I'd probably do the 78s. What I'm doing if I buy a put in a closer expiration is that put, that 78 put, is a cheaper than the one with more days to expiration, and it's going to be more responsive. It's going to have higher gamma. If the stock drops from 80 down to 78, it doesn't have to drop to 74. If it goes down to 78, that put's going to increase in value much faster than an option with this 10-day option is going to increase much faster than, let's say, a 38-day option. Okay, so is that a better hedge? Well, it has certain characteristics. It's more responsive. Your theta is going to be higher. There's a good chance that that 78 put is going to expire worthless, and you're going to buy another one, get another one, another one. But if you were worried about a short-term sell-off in the stock, and you sold your call with 38 days, you're happy with that. It reduces your cost basis, but you want protection, you want a hedge. Yeah, you could buy something with a shorter number of days to expiration. And that's going to be a little bit more responsive, a little bit more sensitive. Its price is going to increase a little bit faster if and when the stock does sell off. Now, why doesn't everybody always do this? Well, it takes some management. Like I said, there's theta. It's working against you. That put could expire worthless, and you're just going to keep buying another one, buying another one, buying another one. If you go 10 days, spending $1.35, let's say, geez, that's going to start to add up if I want to maintain that for 30 days, right? So that's a downside to that particular strategy, but that's the choice. That's the choice you make as a trader. You may not even want to hang on to that put for the life cycle of the trade. You may be long stock, sell the call, and that just sits there as a core position. And the put, when you're scared, when you're worried about the risk of the stock, you think it might sell off sharply, you buy the put. If the circumstances change, if your outlook for the stock changes, you sell the put. You capture a little bit of money back from it. In other words, you're going to lose money on that long put probably in that scenario, maybe. You'll free up capital. You won't lose the entire value if the put expires worthless. Now, one thing with I gotta emphasize this with callers. I would only do callers on stock that I already had. If for whatever reason I'm long stock and I want to change the risk profile of the stock. In other words, stock just is a 45-degree line up and down. Makes money when the stock goes up, lose money when the stock price goes down. If I want to change that and collar it, okay, I can do that. I can sell the out-of-the-money call, buy the out-of-the-money put. But if I don't have any position, I am not going to go in and buy the stock, sell the call, buy the put. Why? The caller, in this case, let's clear this out. Let's go into these, buy the stock, sell these 84s, buy these 74s, okay? Synthetically, this long 74 put plus long stock plus short 84 call is a synthetic long 74-84 call vertical, okay? And that's the key here. So this three-legged trade is synthetically this, okay? And I'm going to cover that in a video of why that's true, but the risk profile is identical. So why would I do this instead of the collar? Well, simply because it's two transactions or one spread transaction. In other words, I can buy that vertical in one trade versus buying the stock, selling the call, buying the put, things like that. It's two trades as opposed to one. It's also going to have, I believe, less capital. So less capital requirement. This, the buying power effect, is the cost of the trade, $537. If I buy the stock and sell the call, buy the put, $3,800. So if the risk profile is the same, I want the trade with the lower capital requirement. That's why I would not initiate this trade buying stock, selling out of money call, buying out of money put. It's only if I have an existing stock position and maybe I'm selling calls against it. Remember, part of that wheel strategy, you take delivery of the stock on a short put, it gets assigned, sell the out of the money call, keep that wheel going. If I wanted to hedge myself temporarily, even I'll buy an out of the money put, collar it off, collar my stock off is the way traders say it. And I may keep that long put just as a temporary hedge. But if I do not have any position, okay, and I'm bullish on the stock and I like the risk profile of a collar, I'm just going to buy the 74.84 call vertical. So none of this is a trade recommendation. If you do decide to do this stuff, you choose the strike prices wisely, manage your risk effectively, and remember, do not take any more risk than you are comfortable with.